Hi guys, welcome back to the Unsavvy Budgeter. For this video, I wanted to highlight some accomplishments we were able to make in the month of August since we were able to close that out and we're already moved on into September. So first thing I wanted to highlight is we were able to replenish our emergency savings with $4,000, which was really great news to us because we thought that was going to take quite a bit of time. The second accomplishment we were really proud of is that we were able to restart our sinking funds and contribute $1,440 for the month of August. We also were still able to do a debt payoff in August towards our student loans, which was $2,251. And lastly, something that I'm super proud of is that we became landlords in August, and now we've added about $2,300 in our income due to rent. So that's some major accomplishments that I think are worth celebrating. The next thing I wanted to cover in this video is as we closed out August, I definitely noticed some areas for improvement. One of them being tracking expenses. I have been really horrible at this. I think it's something that I've struggled from the beginning of my debt-free journey is doing an expense tracker and sticking to it. So I told myself that starting September, I'm going to commit to tracking my expenses at a minimum on a weekly basis, if not every few days. The second area of improvement that I wanted to work on is resisting the urge to shop. I have to admit that I am somebody that's pretty guilty of retail therapy, and I've been doing a bit too much of it lately. So that's definitely a habit that I'm trying to curb. But if you guys have some tips and you're guilty of retail therapy as well, let me know in the comments some suggestions that you have for me. Lastly is planning better for future expenses. Every time I sit down with my husband and we do these budget planning sessions for the upcoming months, we are pretty bad at accounting for any upcoming events, upcoming celebrations, or trips that we have for the upcoming months. We end up realizing halfway through the month, like, oh, something's coming up, and we didn't budget for that appropriately. So now that we're gearing towards the end of the year, there's definitely a lot more celebrations coming up. We have the holidays, we have birthdays, we have weddings now that people are starting to have weddings again. So being more prepared and planning for that in my planner is something that I'm trying to work on with my husband as well. There's that. And with all that comes travel. So making sure that we account for flights, gas, and all that. And last piece of this video that I wanted to transition into is giving you guys an update on where we stand on our debt-free journey. As of today, we have almost reached the 1-year milestone of our debt-free journey when we started this way back in December. And that meant that we had, close to $70,000 in debt. And right now, as of today, we've already paid off $44,837. I'm going to have my husband include a clip of our little table that we show you guys usually of our debt progress, so you can check that out as that pops up. And that meant that we already paid off 100% of our credit cards, which was around $32,000. We also have paid off about $12,000 in student loans as of today. So where does that leave us today? That leaves us with $26,279 left in debt to pay off. And that is purely student loans. So 31% of student loans paid off. I say that is great progress. Obviously not the progress that we've been making in the beginning of the year, but still good progress that I'm happy with. So all in all, that means 63% of total debt paid off as of today. 60% is over 50%, so I'm really happy with that. And we're just that much closer to 70%. So some things that I did want to cover on our debt-free journey as I'm kind of checking in and how we've been doing with our debt payoff. I noticed that, and you guys will too in the table, that the first half of the year, we were doing really good and averaging about a $9,000 monthly debt payment towards our total debt. Second half of the year was not as great. We were averaging about $2,500 a month in our debt payments, and a lot of that had to do with just a lot of life changes. We've had taxes that came up in May that we had to save up and pay for. We've also had home repairs that we were saving up for in our sinking funds because we were turning our home into a rental home as we were preparing to be landlords. We also had, well, not we, but me, I had a change in jobs, and that happened right in summer, which was a good and bad thing because I did take 2 weeks off to kind of recharge and give myself a break before I transitioned to my new job. But that meant that I went 2 weeks without pay, which kind of hurt our debt-free progress for that month. We also spontaneously bought a home, and that depleted our emergency funds, our sinking funds. So definitely not as much money left over to pay our debt offs. But, you know, $2,000, $2,500 average a month is still pretty significant for a lot of people. I know maybe comparing our ratio with, you know, the income that we're bringing in monthly, we could be doing a lot better. But overall, I think that we're doing pretty good. And I've been a tough critic on ourselves because I just keep seeing the smaller numbers. But now that I'm kind of taking a step back and looking at the big picture and kind of taking a glance of this whole debt-free journey from start to finish, I have to say that some things that I'm really proud of is definitely we were able to get out of credit card debt and stay out of credit card debt, which is a huge thing. Even though we've been still utilizing our credit cards to pay for a lot of our expenses that have come up, we've still been managing to pay off our credit cards entirely at the end of each month and not get back into debt. So that is a significant win for us, and still contribute something other than zero to our debt-free journey. So even though we aren't accruing any interest on our student loans, thanks to the forbearance period given to federal student loans, we still wanted to make sure that we're continuing to make some kind of progress, because some progress is better than no progress. And I have to say, $2,500 is not a bad number at all. And so I'm going to pat myself on the back for that. Well, and my husband too, behind the camera. So overall, all I'm saying is that we haven't been making as big of strides as we did in the beginning, but these little strides still count, and it still gets us closer and closer to our end goal, which is being debt-free. So we may be off target on trying to meet our aggressive date of fall, but I'm happy with everything that has happened and gone on, because I wouldn't have imagined that all of this would have taken place. And this debt-free journey has empowered me in so many different ways, and I wouldn't have changed that for the world. So that's really all I have for this video, but if you guys liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you can stay tuned for future videos. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and I hope that you guys stick with me on this debt-free journey. I'll catch you guys in the next one.